What is holy intimacy? What is the Torah's perspective on how intimacy should look like between a husband and a wife? In order to really tackle this topic, we first have to understand what is the point of intimacy? What are we trying to accomplish? What is kadosh? What is kedusha in intimacy? For this, let's start at Parshas Bereshis, where Hashem told us, Al Kain Yazov Adam es aviv ve'es imo v'davak be'ishto v'hayu lebasar echad. That at some point a man will leave his father and his mother, and he will become connected to his wife until the point they become one flesh. So we see over here that the point of a marriage is for a husband and a wife to become one flesh. Now, obviously, this is the first level of expression, is that when they physically connect, and it's like they're actually one flesh. But there's even a deeper version of that, which is when a man gives himself, his zera, to his wife, then there's an even deeper expression of that oneness, that now she carries his essence in her forever. An even deeper expression of that is the baby that's born from that oneness is a now forever expression of the two of them binding into one new being, and now there's one flesh. But this is only the physical expression of this version of Hayu Basar Echad. As we learned in Har Sinai, when it says Vayichan Yisrael neged Ahar, Rashi says, what does it mean that Yisrael were one? Ki ish echad. They were also kilev echad. In other words, real oneness doesn't only come from physical oneness, but the reason behind why we do everything, which is our lev, the more that the two levavot are one lev, kilev echad, they both want to do the same action, that's the degree of how much oneness is expressed in this physical experience of oneness. So in order to have a real expression, a real accomplishment of oneness, it's imperative that both the man and the woman want to be completely involved and happy with this action. So for that reason, Hashem created both of them with deep desire. The desire that pulls them to this intimate experience. And as much as a man wants to give zera, a woman wants to receive zera. And this is a deep need for both of them. So that pulls them together. This action should become with desire, with leiv echad. But even more so, not only is there a physical desire, but Hashem actually created a man and a woman very different from each other. In order that for them, their desires to actually become one, that the same way he wants to give zera, she wants to receive the zera, can only be accomplished through the midah of ahava. As the pasuk says, "V'ahavta l'reacha kamocha," love yourself, love other people like you love yourself. Which means that in order to accomplish real intimacy, we need to do what Adam did. Vayeda Adam es Chava ishto. He needs to learn Chava because Chava was different than him, physically different than him, emotionally different than him. And the only way that it could be that she would want the same thing that he would want, the physical intimacy could actually be an expression of oneness, is if he knew her and knew exactly what would make her physically happy and emotionally happy. And she would know him and would understand what makes him physically happy and emotionally happy. And with this knowledge, with this love of wanting to give to myself as much as I want to give to my wife, loving each other, this makes the expression of a hayu lebasar echad. As much as the man is interested in pleasuring himself, he will be interested in pleasuring his wife. As much as he's enjoying looking for his fulfillment and his satisfaction, he'll be looking for her fulfillment and her satisfaction. And vice versa is true. The same way she's looking for her fulfillment and her pleasure and her satisfaction, he'll be concerned and invested on his pleasure and his satisfaction. This creates not only physical oneness, not only a desire for oneness, but consciousness of each other, that each one knows the other person. And this creates a full expression of total oneness of love and givingness. Now let's look what happens when a couple uses these midos of ahava to create their physical oneness. First of all, the pleasure that they both have is super enhanced, because not only is it that the man is seeking his own pleasure, he's also completely invested in her pleasure. And the same way she's invested in her pleasure, she's invested in his pleasure. So that means they're both going to receive maximum pleasure because there's two people invested in this experience of them having pleasure. Not only that, that's on a physical level, but on an emotional level, we're all deeply looking for love. Love is the deepest need on an emotional level of every human being. Now, in an intimate experience where both are seeking to make the other person want and enjoy this experience as much as they do, what happens is an expression of love. Because when I love somebody, what do I want to do? How do I know that I'm loved? If the other person is caring and doing the things that make me happy. And what makes us extremely happy, and one of the things we need very much is pleasure. So if someone is invested in pleasuring me and I'm invested in pleasuring them, each one of us will experience an incredible sense of love, of the givingness of the other person. And when we both open ourselves up to give to each other and to receive from each other, what's happening is the physical experience is a way of us expressing and receiving deep love. So the physical and giving of love and pleasure actually builds more love. From this action, each one is more conscious of the other one's love. So now we have the second expression of emotional building that good intimacy does. But there's even a deeper sense, which we all have a very deep need to accomplish. Our ruach, the chelik of ourselves that looks to become something, always looks to say, wow, what did I do today? If a person is invested in using the midos of ahava to create their intimacy, that means they're refining themselves to pay attention to somebody else, to become a giving being and loving being. Every single time they make love, they become more Tzelem Elohim. They become more like Hashem. Hashem created the world to give and to love and to connect. And if we build those midos and deeply more understand each other and how each other works, then we'll create more Tzelem Elohim. You'll become refined every single time you make love. And last but not least, the biggest accomplishment is the change of your neshama. Because we all came down here in this world to learn how to connect to Hashem. And everything in this world is just a mashal of how to connect to Hashem. The highest mashal, the connection between us and Hashem, is a relationship between husband and wife. Husband and wife exemplify all of the midos that Hashem does with us and we does with him. So the more a man understands how he works and how he loves his wife, he will understand more deeply about how Hashem is connecting to us. And the more a man understands his wife, he can now understand how we can connect to Hashem greater. Because a woman is actually a higher spiritual being and more developed in her ability to connect. She's nukva, she knows how to receive. And the more we learn our wives, us men have the ability to become like a woman towards Hashem and learn to receive Hashem and learn to connect to him by opening up ourselves and just receiving all the goodness that he wants. So actually, every time we make love, we build our midos, even our neshama gets built, of how we can use all of these experiences to learn the midos of connectivity to Hashem. We should all be zoche to have intimacy that's meaningful on every level, on a physical level, on an emotional level, on an accomplishment level, and on a spiritual level. And it should bring us to very high places every single time we do this holy act.